Today we have a lot of rumors and really crazy outlandish ones, so we need to talk about V's recent flight, and people think that he's flying to Jennie. And then we have Jennie slut-shamed for a while now, and even more so after her recent sickness. And lastly, we have rumors of V and Jennie at the emergency room. So hey Dumplings, Dave decide, hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on, grab your Dumplings, hey spilling mug merch, and let's go. So if you are not aware, V was recently spotted by Dispatch and possibly some other news sites to be at the airport. Currently, as of filming, I don't think the exact location of why he is flying was disclosed, but it was believed he was going somewhere. People tied this to a recent incident where it was believed Jennie got sick and left the stage. If you don't know about that, I will talk about it in a little bit, but all of these things today are connected, so I need to mention it. People were connecting that shocking moment to hear Jennie sick with why V is flying. He literally just flew back, and within the last week I think he has flown like 3 times, so people are wondering what he is up to. There's general assumptions like he's working on more albums or promotion stuff, and then there's other assumptions that he's going to meet BLACKPINK on tour to support Jennie in her time of being sick. I don't think the second theory is anywhere near correct, because then it would be qualified as a personal travel for V. There would be no reason to have Dispatch there, no reason to have what appears to be hundreds of fans there waiting. There was just also what you could see, which was a ton of flashing cameras, so possibly more than just one news site there. Of course, this would lead to this idea that the appearance and trip was planned long before Jennie even got sick. So no, V is not flying over to see Jennie right now. The theory went wild online, and people were saying that you could see V being sad and upset at the airport, and I think a lot of that is just pure craziness. People in K-pop like to link 2 unrelated things together, and even if V and Jennie were actually dating and it's not a stunt or a fake couple, it doesn't really make sense for V to fly over if Jennie has something like a cold or a stomach bug. She is around some of the best medics and teams that can support her. V flying over does the same thing as what a video call could do, and would be safer to do a video call. I'm not saying Jennie has COVID, but COVID is making another round, and it's just not safe for V to be at places that might have it. And if Jennie does have it, then V flying over just to catch it makes no sense to do, and would probably be advised against doing that. Now, I do think V and Jennie know each other and are at least friends. Yeah, I do. So I am sure V is concerned. However, I don't think the sickness is at all related to V, and I think simply there's just been a lot of stress on all of the girls. Jennie gets sick quite often, and we have seen it before with a leg injury. We have seen it before in other situations in which netizens are quick to call Jennie lazy. And stuff like this happens. In case you are unaware, BLACKPINK girls have been on tour for what seems like almost a year. Within that time, they have continued to do performances, press, and all of those things alongside the other BLACKPINK girls. Jennie has even done The Idol. If I'm correct, Jennie has not only done a bunch of these solo type things, but she's also been an ambassador of brands, which it seems like she has flown back and forth to be at. And she has to contractually. Imagine doing a show and then next morning flying over to Paris or wherever she was to perform at a brand party and then finish late at night as you typically do, only to catch a flight and meet the BLACKPINK girls right back on tour. When you work that much, of course you're going to be exhausted and not have energy. This will affect your sleep schedule, and all of this affects your immune system, so you get sick. So how do we know that Jennie got sick and what happened? Well, if you're unaware, Jennie was on stage the other day and the girls were all performing Lovesick Girls, which is kind of ironic, and Jennie in the middle of the performance just walked off stage. There was a general reaction to her walking off. I think in some of the clips you could hear a bit of a gasp, and I think most people just assumed something went wrong. Whether that was a wardrobe malfunction or an emergency, idols like to perform, so for someone to just walk off stage is definitely not for nothing or for something small. Later after the show, the girls without Jennie were on stage and they addressed the moment. They talked about how Jennie was sick and that she was backstage. Rosé continued to talk about how much Jennie probably would love to be out, but obviously could not and is backstage just watching. Nothing was ever really clarified as to what happened with her and what was going on. Later, a tweet from before the show started actually went viral. It seemed like someone from the concert who was in the pit spoke with the security staff before all the girls came out. The staff allegedly told the Blink that only 3 girls would come out today and that Jennie was in the bathroom vomiting all morning. So possibly if this is true, it's a stomach bug or something like that. Jennie did end up making an appearance and showing up and doing her best for as long as she could. But the tweet felt very real because Jennie was sick and did end up walking out. So then it went viral and people were believing the staff. This then led to this whole other set of rumors concerning whether Jennie was pregnant or not, and assuming that this was V's baby. Y'all, if you think dating is a scandal in K-pop, K-pop, how do you think a baby out of wedlock would be seen as? They obviously would not let that happen. But one thing to be aware of if we are talking about V and Jennie actually in a relationship is that imagine doing whatever Jennie does, where she is flying literally every other day, doing performances and shows, and on top of that managing a relationship, which relationships are already a part-time job and a full-time job. She never has any time to herself, and forget time to practice self-care. When would she do that? So be empathetic, please. There's just so much hate, and it's just so clear that no matter what she does, she'll get hate. People saying that it was unprofessional for her to even go on stage when she knew she was sick, and that makes no sense, because if she simply did not go on stage, everyone would be calling her lazy and unprofessional. So she goes on and likely leaves the stage right before she feels like she's going to pass out or maybe vomit more, and then she's called unprofessional. She can't win. And I would love to say that this is an isolated incident to just her, but we currently live in a world where people do that to everyone. Every single person just can't win anymore because they're likely a community that is built around hating specific people. So if you need to hate on an idol just to make friends, then so be it. You guys can bond over that, but just know that that's really sad. And again, as I said, that's fine. Do whatever you need to do. But any person that you are aware of and any celebrity that may have a small community of haters likely is well known enough to have more than enough money or investments to never need to work again. So hate all you want, it doesn't take away from their success, and these haters will still be doing a job that they hate and continue to be miserable while the idol can literally go on the beach and just chill for their whole life. Jennie has been slut-shamed heavily even before this situation with her appearance on the HBO show The Idol, and then she was slut-shamed for dating at all. And so with rumors of her being pregnant now because she's vomiting, the rumors were even more talked about. There were also rumors that Jennie was sent to this emergency room, or that she will be there and maybe there with V2. I think this is crazy. There were some tweets saying that she is hooked up to some IVs, and I don't know where people are getting that. Likely that was a situation that was happening, it wouldn't be seen. So there would be no way for anyone to know. And I don't know if any specific staff would ever disclose that she was. However, if she is vomiting from either dehydration or exhaustion, which are my two guesses, and vomiting would make sense with those two, then yes, an IV is necessary. I just don't know how anyone can tweet out that she is doing those things even though there's no photos of that. However, please don't worry about her. Getting IV is not a huge deal. It's just to bring hydration back, and literally any of you can do it if you feel like you don't get enough hydration. It doesn't signify a specific disease, condition, or anything. So as we can see, this isn't anything super severe, and she just needs rest. If she's not drinking enough water because she's constantly stressed and then she is on stage with all those lights, sweating, then yes, she will be dehydrated. There's medics at every concert and show, so if there's any issues, they can remedy her backstage and she can be well and ready within a few days or a week. I highly doubt this would be a situation where they would need to cancel the remaining shows or anything that dramatic. I'm curious if there was anybody that was upset that they came to see the show and that they didn't get to see Jennie perform. But I think choosing to have Jennie sit out as opposed to canceling the show is ultimately better. Jennie will then be able to finish the tour sooner, and the Blinks still get a full performance. Canceling a concert is never an easy decision, and a lot of labels are a lot more careful about doing something like this nowadays. It's not about the cost of the performance or the label losing money, because if there's an emergency, the label will lose money. They're not too upset about it. It happens, it's planned in their budget for things like this. The issue then becomes the fans actually getting upset because a lot of people will fly out and drive out from out of town. Yes, a concert ticket can be refunded, but what about those flight costs or hotel costs? Those things you cannot recoup, and a label would have no legal responsibility for either. So it's best to just continue the show, and if Jennie needs to walk out, then she can walk out. But continue the show for everyone else that flew so far to see the girls. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right